Hi guys, this is the second part of that shoot that I promised you. This is the Christmas story, and do forgive my dog sneezing in the background. Ben has kindly come along to join us, and he's given me a little bit of a challenge. I have never seen this book other than when he brought it in. I was going to read through it and read it to you guys, but he has said no. He wants to see how I cope with just reading the book blind. Okay, so I'm going to put the blindfold. No, I'm not. Right, we're going to read the book blind. So we're going to start off. It's Mr. Christmas by Roger Hargreaves. Okay. Now, as I've said before, Ben has got the UK's biggest Mr.Men collection.
Did you read the name right?
Roger Hargreaves.
Roger Hargreaves.
It's Hargreaves.
Okay.
Roger Hargreaves. What am I going? She's interfering again, Don. Right.
Pronunciation.
Right. Ben's mum's in the audience. Right. I'm going to ban her from the next shoots because she's nothing but trouble. Little Miss Trouble, I tell you, she really is. Okay. So this is Mr. Christmas by Roger Hargreaves. See, I'm Uncle Bumble, not Mr. Bumble. Okay, here we go. In my snow-covered cottage at the South Pole, I was having breakfast. Christmas pudding. That frosty morning, as I was popping... What are you looking at me like that for? Popping the last piece of marmalade-covered plum pudding into my mouth, there was a knock at the door of Mistletoe Cottage. When I opened the door, I saw it was the postman. Oh, I've got to get the page now. Hello, Percy, I said. Come on in out of the cold. Don't mind if I do, replied Percy. There's a bit of a nip in the air today. I've got a letter for you, said Percy. And as it has a North Pole postmark, I suppose it's from your uncle. Everybody in the South Pole knows about my famous uncle who lives in the North Pole. Good old Father Christmas, I chuckled. Haven't heard from him for ages. Well, remarked Percy. Thanks for the warm-up. I'd better be off now. I opened the envelope. Dear nephew, read the letter. I hope all is well down there. We are busy, as usual up here, getting things organised for Christmas, which is one of the reasons I'm writing to you. Can you help? Each year I'm finding it more and more difficult to get round all those Mr.Men. There seem to be so many of them all over the place. And I was wondering this year if you could do me a big favour to your old uncle. I read that wrong, but never mind. Didn't we just carry on? Okay. And you could stand in for me. Hoping you can help me, your ever-loving uncle. I'll turn the page. There's lots of pages. That very evening, excuse me, Ben. Ben, move your fingers. There we go. That very evening, I put through a long-distance call to North Pole 253. Hello, chuckled a rather deep rumbling voice at the other end of the phone. Father Christmas speaking. Hello, Uncle, I said. Your letter arrived this morning and I'd love to help. Oh, good for you, the voice rumbled in my ear. If you have a pencil and paper, I'll give you the Mr.Men's names and addresses. I'd no idea there were so many of them, I said. Do you think you can manage? Asked my famous uncle. I'll lend you a couple of reindeer, if you like. Oh no, I said, I can manage. I've read through the list of Mr.Men while I was having supper. This is going to keep me busy, I said. First things first, I thought to myself, and the first thing I need is transport. And the first thing to do, if I need transport, I thought, as I chewed, is to talk to the wizard. Wizard Winterbottom.
It's a familiar name.
No, it's Winterbottom, not Bumblebottom. Yeah, and he's not called like Bumblebottom. The following morning, I set off to see the wizard. I set off to see the wizard. It had been snowing again during the night, and I was quite out of breath by the time I arrived at Wizard Winterbottom's castle. I must say it's the biggest castle I've ever seen. Mind you, it has to be big because Wizard Winterbottom is a giant. And there, goodness knows how many times taller than me, stood the huge figure of Wizard Winterbottom. "Christmas!" he boomed in a voice that made my head spin. "How nice to see you! Come in, follow me!" Turn the page. "Now!" thundered Wizard Winterbottom. "What brings you here on a cold winter's morning like this?" I told him about my famous uncle, and all about how I'd been asked to help, and all about the Mr.Men, and all about where they lived, and all about the fact I needed transport. Special transport. Retorted the wizard. "Can you help me?" Actually, I did the wrong voice there, didn't I? Retorted the wizard. "Can you help me?" I asked hopefully. "Yes," he said eventually. "But I can't do anything until the middle of next week." "Thank you so much," I replied. "Goodbye," I shouted. But he didn't hear me. He was already busy thinking. Ben wasn't thinking because I'd smelt that. The pages won't turn. I'll get it, Ben, honest, I will. Exactly 2 weeks later, I paid a return visit to the enormous castle. "Hello, Christmas!" beamed the giant voice. He took me into his kitchen. Did I make you jump, Kate? Sorry. Lifted me up onto the enormous table and set me down with a bit of a bump. "There's your transport," said Wizard Winterbottom. "But that's your teapot," I said in bewilderment. "You've heard of flying saucers?" he laughed. "Well, you're looking at the world's first flying teapot." "Gosh," I said, "how does it work?" "Tea bags," came the thunderous reply. I put an engine inside the spout. All you have to do is refuel every 1,000 miles and you can fly it at up to 3 times the speed of sound. Look, there he is in this flying teapot. We took the flying teapot outside the castle and I pressed the start button in great excitement. I zoomed right around the South Pole in no time at all and landed safely back in the castle. "Well?" asked Wizard Winterbottom. I was lost for words. "Fan-jolly-tastic," suggested the wizard. I grinned. "Abso-jolly-lutely," I replied. So glad I got that word right. We are getting towards the end. That evening, I sat down and made a list of Christmas presents for all the Mr.Men. Another list. A very long list. I didn't finish until 3 o'clock in the morning. I spent the next week and a half wrapping up all the presents, and almost before I knew it, December the 24th had arrived. Christmas Eve. Do you like Christmas Eve, guys? I do. It's quite exciting time. Ben does, yeah. He don't go to sleep. He wakes up for Santa. It's going to be a long day, I thought to myself, as I packed all the brightly coloured parcels into my flying teapot. It was snowing lightly as I took off from the South Pole. That Christmas Eve was indeed a very long day, and a very long night too. And the moon was just disappearing over the horizon of Loudland when I delivered the last present to Mr. Quiet. I was quite exhausted. Christmas morning dawned, and all over the world, everyone started to open their presents. At 7 o'clock, Mr. Fussy opened his present. 365 yellow dusters, one for each day of the year. At 7:05, Mr. Small opened his present. 1 jelly bean, gift wrapped, banana flavoured. A feast. At 7:10, Mr. Greedy opened his present. A cookery book entitled 1001 Ways to Roast an Ox. Mr. Greedy licked his lips and rubbed his tummy. Do you know, I love having him here because he gets all excited. He's probably read this book 1,000 times, knowing him, because he loves Mr.Men, right? At 7:15, at 7:15, Mr. Tall opened his present. Socks! Striped socks! And the longest, stripiest pair of stretchy socks you've ever seen. At 7:20, Mr. Muddle opened a packet of cornflakes. And this is meant to be the easy reading one. But my earsight is bad. So, packet of cornflakes. Funny sort of present, he thought to himself, not noticing his real present. At 7:25, Mr. Mean opened his present. A purse, a very, very small purse, just small enough not to take any money. At 7:30, Mr. Forgetful opened his present. Is it my birthday, he thought to himself. At 7:20, Mr. Chatterbox opened his present. A dictionary. How very, 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 very useful, he murmured. At 7:45, Mr. Topsy-Turvy opened his present. A picture. How nice, he said, and hung it on the wall upside down. Look, there's a picture of it upside down. I'm surprised that worm hasn't fallen out of that. Because he's upside down. Right. At 7:50, Mr. Uppity opened his present. A present for the man who has everything. A gold-plated back scratcher. At 7:55, Mr. Funny opened his present. A book of knock-knock jokes. Knock knock, who's there? You know the sort of thing. And at 8 o'clock precisely, Mr. Silly opened his Mr. Silly's his favourite. Right, Mr. Silly opened his present. An electric, fully automatic, instant digital computerised thingamajig. What's an electric, fully automatic, instant digital computerised thingamajig? I've no idea. Just after 8 o'clock, that Christmas morning, the telephone rang. Hello, rumbled a voice. Hello, I answered. Happy Christmas. That's me, laughed Father Christmas. And a happy Christmas to you. And that's me too, I replied. How did it go? Father Christmas asked me. Just got back, I said. Me too, sighed my uncle wearily. I didn't sound very weary, but never mind. It's only a story, isn't it? Had a bit of a problem in France, he added. Got stuck in the chimney. It's a bit topical, that is, having trouble with France. Was he fishing? It's all those mince pies, I chuckled. And that is the end of my story. Or nearly. Almost. Not quite. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Slow finally managed to open his present. 5 o'clock in the afternoon was the time that day. And the day was New Year's Eve. There were all the Mr.Men in there. And that was our Christmas story, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Ben?
I enjoyed it very much.
Enjoyed it very much. My little granddaughter Ella will be watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it, Ella. And Kate's watching over there, and she enjoyed it. Did I do all right?
Yeah,
For the first read,
it's very good for a first read.
Thank you very much indeed, guys. If you enjoyed the story, leave a little bit in the comments for us. Ben reads the comments, I read the comments. Ben leaves comments, so does Kate. They're normally the only ones. That makes me very sad. So leave a comment, right? And don't forget, you've got to
Slap that like, ring that bell, subscribe, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah. Ben. And until next time, guys, hope you're enjoying our Christmas specials. Be good. Be safe. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
With the bar humbug Christmas
Oh, yeah.
on it.
Oh,
The Christmas hat.
got one of them upstairs.